Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring a really powerful conflict that runs through all our sources. It's this feeling, looking at how things are now and just thinking, it's nothing. It feels like nothing.
Right. And that's set against these huge, sometimes really unexpected promises about the future, about transformation.
Exactly. So we've got quite a mix today.
We do.
Yeah.
We're pulling together ancient prophecy from Haggai, that really raw emotion you find in Psalm 43, the Gospels, Luke 9 and Mark 10, focusing hard on identity. Who is Jesus? And what does that mean?
And suffering, right, that comes into it too.
Absolutely. And then a reflection that ties it all back to this single powerful image, the cornerstone.
So our mission really is to track that feeling, that disconnect.
Yeah.
Why does the present feel so discouraging, like that nothing the prophet talks about? And how is that feeling, that situation actually, well, maybe the necessary preparation for something totally different?
For a future glory that maybe doesn't look like what they first expected, how the rejected thing somehow becomes the key.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start right there with that feeling of disappointment. Haggai gives us a very specific moment.
He really does. It grounds it completely.
Yeah.
We're told it's the second year of King Darius, 21st day, 7th month. This isn't some vague idea. It's happening then, to them.
And who's he talking to?
Well, he calls out the leadership directly. You've got Zerubbabel, he's the governor, the political head,
Okay.
and Joshua, the high priest, the religious leader.
Yeah.
And importantly, he also speaks to the remnant of the people, the ones actually doing the rebuilding work.
And the mood? You can almost feel it. It's heavy with memory, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because some people there remember the first temple, Solomon's temple, legendary.
Right. And they're looking at, well, what they've managed to put up so far, and it's just not measuring up.
It's crushing. Total discouragement. And Haggai, he doesn't soft pedal it. He leans right into that comparison.
What does he say?
He asks this just devastating question aimed right at their sense of failure. Who is left among you that saw this house in its former glory? Yeah. And how do you see it now? Does it not seem like nothing in your eyes?
Yeah.
He's basically saying, yeah, I see it too. It looks pathetic compared to the memory, doesn't it?
He validates their feeling completely. If you've ever started something huge and the first version just looks weak compared to the vision, you know exactly what they felt.
Totally. So faced with this overwhelming feeling of failure, what's the first response? What's the command?
Well, it's interesting. It's not get better plans or find more money. The first thing, the most urgent thing, is courage.
Yes. And he hammers it home 3 times. Covers everyone. Take courage, Zerubbabel. Take courage, Joshua.
And the people too.
And take courage, all you people of the land, and work. It's an instruction for everyone involved.
But why? Why courage right then? What's the basis for it when everything looks so bleak?
It's the assurance of God's presence. Plain and simple. I am with you. And then, my spirit continues in your midst. Do not fear.
Ah, so it's not based on their current success rate.
Not at all. And critically, he says, this isn't some new idea. He links it straight back to the covenant, the promise made way back when they came out of Egypt.
So it's like saying, remember who you are, remember my track record, not just the state of this building site.
Precisely. Your identity, your future, it's anchored in my faithfulness from the past, not just the pile of stones you see today.
Okay, so he confronts the discouragement, calls for courage based on God's presence, but he doesn't stop there, does he? He pivots to the future.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
He immediately launches into this prophecy of future glory, and the language just explodes. It becomes cosmic.
Right. It goes way beyond fixing the temple.
Way beyond. It's this picture of total transformation, cataclysmic change.
Right.
One moment yet, a little while, he says, and I will shake the heavens and the earth, the sea and the dry land.
Whoa. That's everything.
Everything. And it gets bigger. I will shake all the nations. It's not just nature. It's the global power structure, too.
That transition is wild. If you're struggling to build one house, you're probably hoping for, I don't know, a shipment of wood, maybe some better tools.
Exactly. But instead, God promises that the entire world order is going to shift, basically, in their favor.
And the result is this massive transfer of wealth, right?
That's the implication.
Yeah.
It culminates in this huge resource shift.
Yeah.
All the world's valuable stuff is suddenly going to flow towards this project.
Because ultimately, it all belongs to God anyways.
That's the declaration. Mine is the silver and mine the gold. It's stated as absolute fact, divine ownership, which leads to the promise. The treasures of all the nations will come in.
And the physical building itself.
The promise is clear. Greater will be the future glory of this house than the former. It's going to outshine even Solomon's legendary temple.
Wow. And the final payoff.
The ultimate gift. In this place, I will give you peace. Shalom, wholeness, security. It sounds like everything they could possibly want. Material splendor, peace. Sorted.
It really does. It sounds like the absolute perfect ending. Material wealth, surpassing glory, ultimate peace.
Right. So if that promise is so certain, so amazing, why do the sources then immediately seem to plunge us into despair with Psalm 43?
Yes. That's the reality check, isn't it? The necessary dose of realism.
Definitely. Psalm 43 feels like the voice of someone actually living in that gap between the huge cosmic promise and the miserable present.
It's that feeling of being abandoned, that question, why must I go about in mourning with the enemy oppressing me?
Exactly. It brings us right back down to earth.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even when you have the surest promise for the future, the pain you feel now, the struggle you're in today is absolutely real. It hurts.
And the psalm doesn't just brush that off.
No, it honors it. It doesn't offer some easy fix for the oppression. Instead, what keeps the psalmist going, the thing they repeat like an anchor.
It's internal, isn't it? Hope in God. I will praise him, my Savior and my God. That's it. It's an act of will, an internal choice to hope and praise, even when external circumstances are screaming the opposite. That's the resilience you need to believe in, that greater glory, when all you see around you is, well, nothing.
Okay, so we have this tension, present nothing, promised future glory, the need for courage, the reality of struggle, and the anchor of internal hope. Now, the pivot. Here's where it gets really interesting. We shift gears completely from temples and nations to something deeply personal.
Yes.
Identity and suffering. We move to the Gospels, Luke's account. Jesus is with his disciples, and he asks probably the most important question of his whole ministry.
He starts broad, though, right? Testing the general opinion.
Yeah, he asks, who do the crowds say that I am? Get the public view first.
And what are people saying?
The disciples report back the common ideas. Respectable guesses. John the Baptist back from the dead, maybe Elijah or one of the other prophets returned.
So powerful figures, divinely sent people. Good answers, really.
Great answers. They definitely recognize something special, something authoritative about him, but they're still incomplete.
Because then he narrows the focus.
Right onto them. The inner circle. But who do you say that I am? Direct, personal.
And Peter steps up.
Peter nails it. The confession that changes everything. The Christ of God. The Messiah.
That's the moment, the big reveal, the recognition of who he truly is.
It is. But then comes the shocker. What does Jesus do immediately after Peter says this?
He tells them to keep quiet about it.
Exactly. He rebuked them and directed them not to tell this to anyone. It seems totally counterintuitive. If he's the Messiah, shouldn't they be shouting it, proclaiming the victory?
But their idea of Messiah, it was probably still tied up with Haggai's vision, wasn't it? Silver, gold, shaking the nations, military victory.
Precisely. They likely heard Messiah and thought, great, here comes the guy who kicks out the Romans and brings back the golden age, the greater glory, with actual gold.
So the title itself, at that point, could cause a massive misunderstanding.
A huge misunderstanding of what kind of Messiah he was, what kind of glory he was bringing. So to correct that, he immediately tells them the real path, the true definition of his messiahship.
And it's not what they expected.
Not even close. He says, the Son of Man must suffer greatly. Must. It's necessary. And be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised.
Wow. Suffering, rejection, death. That's the path to glory.
That is the redefined glory. The future glory promised way back isn't about bigger buildings or more gold anymore. Jesus reinterprets it completely as resurrection glory, achieved through rejection and death. The way up is down.
The greatest honor comes through the greatest humiliation. That's radical.
Totally radical. And Mark's gospel gives us that perfect summary statement, the Alleluia verse connection. The Son of Man came not to be served like an earthly king, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many.
Service, sacrifice, ransom. That's the new definition of messianic glory, directly challenging that whole expectation of conquest and wealth.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that whole tension we talked about, a present nothing versus the promised future, it kind of resolves in this other image, doesn't it? The rejected stone.
Ah, yes, from the songs.
Right. You can see how Haggai's disappointing temple foundation and Luke's suffering Christ, they both fit that line from Psalm 118. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone.
That's the connection. The thing that seemed useless, flawed, didn't fit the plan. The thing the experts discard.
The disappointing foundation. The suffering servant who gets killed.
That rejected thing is actually the most important piece. The foundation the whole future is built on.
And the reflection source really highlights something key about Peter's confession, that moment of recognition.
What's that?
It wasn't just Peter being clever or observant. The reflection stresses it came from God's revelation, not human understanding. It was a gift of insight, seeing something beyond the surface logic.
So true understanding of who Jesus is and what this glory means isn't something you can just figure out on your own?
Apparently not. It requires a kind of divine insight to see the rejected stone as the cornerstone, to see suffering as the path to glory, which makes it very personal, as the reflection points out. Faith isn't just knowing facts, it's this personal revelation.
And that leads straight to the challenge for us, for you listening. If you accept that identity, if you say, yes, Jesus is the Messiah, the Christ of God,
then you're not just signing up for the resurrection glory part, you're also signing up for the path that leads there.
The path of the cross. Embracing service, maybe even rejection, trusting that God's plan uses those very things to build something amazing, believing in the cornerstone even when it still looks like a discarded rock.
Well, it's a tough ask.
It really is. So what does this all mean? Let's try and wrap this up.
Go.
We started with Haggai, that need for courage when things look like nothing, holding on to a promise of future glory and peace. Real, tangible stuff, it seemed.
Silver, gold, a magnificent temple, peace in the land.
But then the Gospels, especially through Jesus' own words, they just completely flip the script on what that glory looks like.
Yeah, it's not about external success in the way the world measures it. True glory, the greater glory, is found in service, in rejection, ultimately in sacrificial love and resurrection.
It shifts everything inward, doesn't it? From outward appearances to inward character and trust in God's upside-down ways.
Exactly. Which brings us to the practical bit, the so what. The source material itself pushes us there with a question for you, the listener.
Right, the question to do.
Yeah. How can I live today in a way that reflects my belief that Jesus is truly the Messiah? In other words, knowing all this, how do you actually walk that path of service, maybe even embracing rejection or suffering right now in your life?
That's the challenge, to live out that belief.
Definitely.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with, pulling it all together. These sources seem to consistently show us that the greatest, most lasting glory isn't built on the obvious stuff, the silver and gold everyone expects.
No, it's built on the foundation laid by that rejected stone.
So the question becomes, what in your life right now feels, well, rejected? Or maybe insignificant? That effort you're putting in that feels like nothing, that doesn't seem to fit the mold of success you expected.
Could that seemingly small, maybe even discouraging thing, could that actually be the hidden cornerstone God is using to build some future transformation you just can't see yet?